Seminole State family, welcome to Research Rally Live. We are faculty librarians at Seminole State College of Florida. I'm Nicole.
I'm Jason.
I'm Ross.
And we want to spend the next 30 minutes doing research with you. We are about to search, sift, sort, and suss our way through several sources. As always, we want to hear from you in the chat, especially if you have a research question. But before we get into that, let's find out what's going on at Seminole State this coming week. And usually we have a wonderful, wonderful colleague of ours, Andrea, to join us. But guess what? Andrea is out on leave. So we have a special, let's see, the lion and the mouse. Okay, let's try this out.
Oh, right. Yes.
All right. So what's going on this week at Seminole State?
Yep.
I don't think your mic's turned on.
A little bit louder, please.
Oh man, there's some boomer problems here. So the lion and the mouse, because today we had a courtesy of Commissioner Wiggins here in City of Sanford. We had a group of summer campers from the Goldsboro area, and we did a story time and a couple activities, and we did The Lion and the Mouse by Jerry Pinkney, and the kids really loved it, and we invited them on. And I mean, they're in a book. Like, I don't know why, like, where's your showmanship? But you know, we love you anyways.
You know what, Nicole? The lion isn't answering because it's taking a cat nap.
Oh. Okay. Thank you so much. But anyway, if you want to know what is going on at Seminole State this week, you actually always can check out Seminole State's Raider Connect. I have a link for it somewhere here, and here it is. Thank you for your patience. So, yep. So if you Google SSC Raider Connect or Seminole State Raider Connect, you can find that website with all the events. And Jason, you're the numbers man. How many people are watching right now?
Nicole, there's 22 eyeballs. Multiply that by infinity, so there's 8,942 billion people watching. Back to you, Nicole.
If any of those 8,900 billion 42 people are here because they need FYE credit, like I think Jason asked you, shout out your professor.
Yeah.
Also, if you're hoping that maybe like if you missed the deadline last night for the FYE credit, you know, I don't know, like put a little fingers crossed.
Yeah.
My teacher takes the credit. Put that in the chat for us.
For sure. We'll give you the attendance link in just a little bit. Make sure in the chat to put your name, the name of your professor. We'll be asking you questions and prompts throughout the broadcast, so please interact in the chat. And what do you think, Lion? Is that going to be a good workflow for you? Mouse, is that... Got it. Thank you very much. Understood.
Okay.
Understood. It's like a real mellow, chill vibe there on the mouse and the lion.
Sure. Okay, so every week at Wednesday at 3, we research a topic, and we narrate and show the research process. Just talk about good information searching and evaluating behaviors. And this week we picked Are Zoos Bad for Animals? Like, honestly, I started to regret this topic because I'm thinking we're going to find information that's kind of like, I'm a little scared to start searching. Did you all do searching yet?
So we haven't, and I'll speak frankly for me. I know Ross and I share the same diet. We are vegans. And so for me, I'm approaching this with a bias, which can happen when you're doing your research. So no me gusta zoos. I do not like zoos. I do not like animal in captivity. So are zoos bad for animals? My bias on this topic is going to show immediately. So keep that in mind when you're doing research on how you approach things or not, because I might go, no, yes, they are. They're bad. You're going to be bad. And then I might find some research that conflicts or counters with what my bias is. And you have to go with the evidence, and that's really where the research comes into play. What do you think about that, Ross? Are you on the same wavelength or no?
No, I actually have the opposite opinion of it. I love zoos. I go to every zoo I can find.
Zinger! Zinger! On my own voice.
I really enjoy seeing animals that I would never interact with in my whole life. You know, in Sanford, like that zoo is really cool. I think they do a lot of really great stuff, and so I guess I come at it with a little bit of bias too. Like, I love zoos.
Also in the chat too, please don't Don't be sad, get glad trash bags. I don't know if that's your official name on your student ID. So please put in your official names and please put in your professors' names. And then also in the chat, I'm assuming many of you are taking the IDS 1107 first year experience flight path class. What's the other class that you're taking? Put that in the chat so we know. It's going to be a history, a humanities, a speech, an English, etc., etc. Back to you, Nicole.
Okay. So, I'm just gonna, we'll start at Google today. I know sometimes we jump right into the databases. We don't say, oh, you can only look at peer-reviewed articles. We really open our minds to the whole world of information. The ecosystem of information in our day and age in 2024 is so large and so expansive. There's so much we can learn. We can't just say, oh, only the good information is in the libraries behind the subscription pay for databases. Okay, we can't say that. So sometimes we do just start at Google, and sometimes it's because we just need some ideas. Like, I'm not gonna maybe even use websites on my paper, but I want some ideas. Now, I started thinking about rephrasing this topic because the way you phrase your topic when you start searching can impact your results. I thought, are zoos necessary? If I search, do zoos hurt animals? I know I'm going to see some information. Like, again, I was a little scared of this topic. I don't want to see animals, like pictures or of animals being hurt. I know I'm going to approach that in this topic, but are zoos necessary? And then what else I found, obviously in the day of AI and ChatGPT and all this, AI has its own answer. So we can see if we like AI's answer, but humans, have judgment and empathy, which is something that as of yet, and probably never, AI will not be able to replicate. So I can use my judgment and my human feelings to kind of sort through this.
That's right, Nicole. Most humans have empathy.
No.
Some do. Some do not.
That, Jason.
Some do not.
Oh man.
Zinger!
Okay, so some say that zoos are necessary to protect biodiversity and ensure the survival of many animal species. I will tell you on my topical research I've already just kind of quickly done that they say that if we never had zoos, Jason, with the bias, and I can have my own bias, we all do, a lot of species we would have had more endangered species. Is that something that you saw when you were looking around a little bit?
So again, students, what we're doing here on the Research Rally is we're coming up with different topics each week. We're looking at different databases, and we're trying to really start with this research question or this topic sentence. In this case, it's a research question. So I guess, Nicole, on mine is the bad. What is bad? Are zoos bad for animals? So what?
I mean, I can.
And again, students, are we changing this around?
Yeah.
Yeah, are we changing this around? So you're going to get the luxury in most of your classes, and thank you for putting in there, Ross. We got a lot of speeches, a lot of English a lot of these classes, history, humanities. Many times the professor gives you, the student, the green light to pick what it is that you want. So imagine you all, the students, everybody watching, all 47 billion, 367 trillion students watching, that you've also put in this topic. Are zoos bad for animals? Now, do you change it? Do you search for this first and then look at the results and then change it? That's probably the workflow that I would do.
Yeah, as soon as I put in, are zoos bad for animals instead of are zoos necessary, I'm very quickly getting to a spot where it's showing me a picture of a depressed animal. And so that word bad, again, the word choice. And you don't want to say, oh, I have to find the perfect way to phrase my topic, and it's only one way. What we do as librarians and what we coach students to do is you search it different ways and see what comes up.
And this is going to, good point, Nicole. And this is going to be a touchy subject. So again, I'm a animal rights activist and advocate. I don't want any animals being hurt. I've lived most of my life animal-free diet. The search results, Nicole, after you put in the topic into the Google search, look at the actual source. This is in defense of animals. That's going to be a bias. PETA.org. Yes, it's a non-for-profit 501c3, but it's going to have a bias. Some of these organizations have a bias. So the next step was what we're trying to do is evaluate some of these sources. Sentient Media. Okay, the New York Times. Okay, so now, and actually the moral cost. I like the way that that's coming up as opposed to, is it bad? And we did have I'll put you back on here, Young Buck. Young Buck was on here earlier in the chat. Okay. And what did they say? A better question would be, how are animals affected by zoos? Okay, remember, students, this is your hypothetical, so you all have the same kind of research question. The prompt is good. Logan says, research question because some people here might want to be animal caregivers. Ooh, what's an animal caregiver? Is that in a zoo? Are those zookeepers? Phoenix says, I think it should have another word or phrase more detailed than bad. Okay, we're on that point. And then we got one more here from Rebecca chiming in. I think it should be worded differently. Okay, yeah, so let's take a look. And
I'm getting 3 different, just this, again, a basic Google search. Okay, we'll get into the databases in a moment. But a basic Google search, I've asked the same question 3 different ways, 3 different types of vocabulary with the similar words of animals and zoos. Okay, I have those continual variables. Okay, those variables are not variables. What am I saying? Okay, you know what I'm saying. I have zoos and animals in there. I'm tired today and a lot of days, but I've gotten different results each time. So do you see the beauty of this, of asking the same question different ways? It is going to help expose you to different information. And this is just an example in a Google search. The databases, same thing. Go to social media, because you can use information from social media to inform you on topics. You have to be very cognizant and careful and thinking about who is putting that information there, but ask it different ways.
The impact of zoos on animal well-being. And then is that a question mark, Penelope? Right? Do we use question marks? Again, you're trying to think of this for your college journey. We're assuming that many of you are in the summer bridge program. You're taking one class, the IDS 1107, and you're taking another class. I guarantee you, tell me if I'm wrong in the chat, but in any of those other classes, Ross, the speech, the English, the humanities, you're doing research right now. So this is applicable. You're doing this now, and you're probably coming up with this. Did I phrase it the right? Oh, man, what did I tell my professor I was doing my topic on? Oh, I don't want to do that topic anymore. This is all natural. It's all normal. The librarians are here to help. And you could see we're kind of doing the same thing. And then Daniel writes in, yeah, you're focusing on bad, whereas you should approach a research topic from an unbiased perspective. So we are bringing in different viewpoints as well, which you would do as well, because we all have different viewpoints. So what do we have here? Zoos are like prisons. How animal captivity. Now that's the World Animal Protection. Again, I think that's going to have a little slant to it.
So one thing we want to do, and when we talk about like sifting information, you want to look at the pros and cons, both sides of the argument. So in a moment, when we get to the databases with Ross, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. The best places to look for pro and con arguments in the library databases. But I would say, if we're looking at websites right now, we could say, if I open up worldanimalprotection.us, they're probably super anti-zoos. So I would have to open up that website, look at the about, and try to, if they have an about, that's one of the things you want to do is look at the website's about, who wrote the article, figure out their bias. And then if I'm going back to that list, if I want to find like a pro zoo place, I don't know what the organization is, but like zoo, what's it called? Association. I don't know. Let's see if there's like whatever. Okay. Not now. So if I wanted to look at pro zoo information and expose myself to both sides of the issue, which is very important for really understanding a full topic, even if you have a bias one way or the other, that's normal to have that. I would pick that one, and I would compare some of the information on both. But again, if I'm analyzing a website, I want to look at About Us, no matter what website I'm on, and to see who is writing the website, who's publishing the information on there. Those kinds of things are important to look at.
Now, I love animal, but I hate snakes. Get that snake out of here.
Zinger!
All right.
Thing, students, is thank you. Thank you. That was my some of these, if you're doing like an argumentative, if you're in a speech class, or you're doing a paper where you have to flip the other side of the fence, then I would go to maybe the PETA. Then I would go to the animal. Again, if you're saying zoos are great, animals are cool, they love it, all the animals say, hey, take me out of the wild and put me in captivity. Like, I love that. I'm an animal. That's cool. I would also want to add something on the other side. That's the flip side. You usually do that in an argumentative speech or a paper. You always want to show a little bit of the other side of the fence, and then boom, go right back to your point on why you're on the opposite side of the fence, and you just keep hammering home your point. That's
that our planetarium director scuba diving down there with you?
It looked like it. It was me and the turtles. I don't remember seeing him down there with the turtles.
Okay, so let's start searching for this topic in the databases. Ross, do you have I'm going to add it to the stage.
I think I do.
Well, hold on. What do you think? What do you think of that approach, Lion?
Oh yeah. Check in.
Mouse? Got it. Okay.
I think their internet connection is bad. You know, like their.
It was a little fuzzy. It felt a little fuzzy. Okay.
Okay. Fuzzy like a lion's fur.
Ooh, good one. Good one. Good
oh
one.
My gosh, the dad joke.
Oh.
All right, so Ross, we're at the library homepage right now, and what was the first place you went to? What were you thinking?
So this is going to sound a little rehearsed, but when we're dealing with an argumentative topic in particular, and you have to kind of decide what points you want to raise in your topic, one of my very favorite places to go is a database called Opposing Viewpoints. And what a
database drop! That was a database drop. We just name dropped a database right there.
Database drop.
Sorry, Ross.
Sure. So Opposing Viewpoints.
Uh-oh. Sorry. Okay.
Opposing Viewpoints, what it does is it takes all of these sources and kind of organizes them into different perspectives on an issue. And as you might notice right here at the start, there's a topic about zoos and aquariums. So we were.
I think
Ross, can you switch your tab?
Can I?
I think it might be.
It's only opening. Hang on. I got an idea here. Let me see if this will work.
Okay,
there's
our database list. Okay.
And while Ross is doing that, Logan's letting us know. So you go to Seminole State's website, you could search up the library and click on the tab that says databases and search up the topic. Logan, ding, 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 A+++++++.
I think the AI was listening to us, because why is it popping up on the top of your thing?
Oh,
AI can listen to us?
Jason,
what?
Welcome to 2024.
Oh, hello. Nice to be here.
So one of the first things about this database that's great is it's going to give you kind of an overview of what the different ideas are, what some of the main issues are in this field. And I always like to read through this as I'm kind of developing my argument. Right? Like, I mean, you can see like the history of animal attraction. Maybe zoos 100 years ago weren't quite as ethical as they are now. I don't know. I don't really know much about that history there. And there's stuff about the regulations and accreditations and all this stuff here. And then they even offer some criticisms of zoos. So if we're trying to develop that kind of framework of like how we're going to talk about this really briefly goes through both, the whole breadth of the issue here. So I always like to see that. Now, my favorite part of Opposing Viewpoints are these viewpoint sources. You'll see that it collects all kinds of different things in here, journals, magazines, newspapers, but these viewpoint sources are where you really start to see targeted essays. So as I'm kind of shaping my ideas, this is usually where I start. And we can see like there's stuff here about China sending bears to the US, and are zoos good for animals? Kind of our question that we had earlier.
There it is.
So
Ross and Nicole, librarian colleagues, I do want to point out that many of the students are saying that they get to the library databases through Navigate.
Yes, plug.
Okay, so we are learning something now too. There are many different entryways to the library databases. They are not hidden by any means, but you can go to, and we're sharing all of your answers. We appreciate it. I like this one, Rebecca. Look it up.
Look it up.
Look it up. I like that one. Okay, so Opposing Viewpoints, that's one of the good ones in terms of you could pick different topics. As Ross said, the sort of content almost reads like a paper or a speech, right? It's a little bit of a brief sort of abstract, a little introduction. And then usually you have your nuts and bolts, your ABC, your 1, 2, 3, your intro, body, conclusion. And of course you have your bells and whistles located on the bottom or the upper right here. You can email it to yourself. You can use the cite buttons. You can print it, put it on your Google Drive, put it on your OneDrive, and then boom. These are one of the credible scholarly sources that you can use for your speech, humanities. I saw one sociology student in there. So keep all this in mind, students. Yeah.
And another cool thing about this database, real quick, like while we're looking at it, is I like that it also suggests similar articles over in this right-hand column there, so you can kind of just follow breadcrumbs. It makes your research a little bit easier that way.
because you never need just one source. And even if the professor did assign just one source, which I know they won't, you want to look at even more information than you actually need for your paper. That's how you really develop the knowledge and develop the understanding of the topic, where you can actually speak knowledgeably about it.
So here is a good example on why, to Nicole's point of having more than one credible, reliable source. Maybe, Ross, could you really quick go to Credo?
Yeah,
and on the main page on the right hand.
Database drop.
Database drop. We're gonna look at Credo, friends, and we're gonna look. Let's look at the mind map and let's put in zoo. Because if you're looking at this as a researcher, and all of us are researchers right now, we're all academics. Hello, I'm under the live button. Here I am. You kind of want to approach it like you don't know anything about it, right? So what is a zoo? Let's start there. How do we know if it's good or bad for animals? We should have scaled all the way back. And now we have Mindmap. So Ross, walk us through what the Mindmap feature is and how it helps students shape their research journey.
So yeah, what it's going to do is it's going to try to connect you with different related things to zoos right now. So you can see, like, it mentions captivity, and it mentions the London Zoo. I saw that in one of the other articles talking about the London Zoo in the 1800s and stuff. So maybe that was kind of like the first modern zoo type thing. I don't know. I'm kind of making that up. And it mentions a bunch
making
of
stuff up. Can I get a fact checker? Can I get a fact checker, please, on this?
Yeah, somebody in the chat. Look somewhere. Is the first zoo ever in wherever Ross said? Is that where it was?
We keep interrupting Ross, but the point we're making is he's just saying that for the fact, like, he's just exploring ideas. You don't have to be an expert on your topic as you're researching it. You become the expert. So he's just like kind of thinking, oh, maybe this will work. Maybe this will stick. Maybe this will help me. We got to try different things, trial and error. Right. And really quick, Ross, we haven't even written a word here, students. We haven't written anything yet. Right. We're still in the research discovery process. Oh, I think we have an answer. I think we have an answer. Princess Roxy says it was in Egypt. Oh, but what year? Can you get it? Can you? We'll come back to you. Can we get a date on there? Phoenix L dropping in too. Dropping in. Young Buck says no, it's not. Okay, all right, fact checkers. He said he's guessing. He said he was guessing. Everybody, be cool.
I saw something on the other page. That's all.
All right, so use this. I put the link in the chat. Credo. Remember these databases. Yeah. The first one was opposing viewpoints, which is clear as day, right? I say up, Nicole says down. We both have opposing viewpoints. Yeah. And then here, we're doing Credo. I really like this. It's a reference database, and the mind map feature is awesome. Database draw. All right, we got some facts. We got, 35. All right. So, and now, did you guys just Google it? Well, I was going to say, none of you cited any of these sources where you told me the 3500 BCE, so you got to tell us where you got it from. Come on. Yeah, all right, so what do we have? Trace the claims. Does it change at all, Ross, on zoos? Does it matter?
Initially, I searched for zoos, and it corrected me to just zoo. So it auto-corrected that. So I don't think that would make too much of a difference there. I mean, we could add another word to it, like if we wanted to add like a word like captivity to our search. Maybe that could help here. Oh wow, you could just move us around, Nicole. Did you know that? Oh I didn't know that. I'll put myself back on top. No, I want to be back here. Okay, so Credo, we got Credo. I would use that, and let's see where we go. Can we go anywhere? Does it say anything about animals, animal welfare, animal safety? Yeah, let's see if we can answer this question in the next 5 minutes. Like, at least find one argument for and one argument against. Captivity. Confirm. Yeah, I saw that, and then when we start digging through there, it starts getting a little bit more specific. Marine Mammal Park.
Oh, there's a good question. Ross just said it. Aquarium. In the chat, everyone put a Y or put an N. Is a gigantic aquarium the same as a zoo? I think would that constitute, right, Nicole? Would that constitute for our research question? Is that, if I went back to my professor, is it only the one where there's, tigers and lions and bears, oh my, or is it Gatorland?
Well, we'd probably have to specify, because again, like, if zoos includes aquariums and stuff, are you going to talk about all of them, or are you just going to talk about aquariums or just talk about zoos? Like, that is something you would have to specify for a paper, because you might have to write a 50-page paper to cover all of, like, every animal captivity type situation ever. I mean, there's animal rescues, right? There was one in East Orlando. I don't know if they're still around, but they had big cats. And actually during Hurricane Charlie in 2004, at my apartment complex on Rouse Road, they kept their big cats in the garages there because they already,
cool.
some of the people live there. Yes. So, but that's my question. Here's a question. Like, okay, so what would happen to those? Why were those animals there in the first place? That's kind of along Jason's argument. Like, do they need,
Right. And then what I would do, to your point, and for everyone in the chat, thank you. They were all wise. So everybody said the aquarium is the same thing. In that case, students, from a researcher's perspective, remember, we haven't typed or written anything yet. We're still researching. Maybe I would go zoo, like a zoo, not Zuzu Pedals from the movie Ford Fairlane. But I'd go zoo and then maybe aquarium. And then maybe a third, if we can come up with it here. And then I would maybe describe the different ones, right? Because I'm also thinking something like Gatorland. How many gators would die in captivity? What would be the ratio? And you would have to imagine that maybe an animal dies of old age or something. I'm not sure. We'd really have to get into the research. But to that point, I'd maybe look at the 3 different types of a zoo, which I think I can drill down like in a global level, that it's a place where an animal would be in captivity. And maybe it's for admission. Because like you just said, you said a rescue. I don't think you pay money to go to a rescue. I pay money to go to a zoo unless it's a public zoo.
Some do.
What do we got here?
We haven't asked what they
think.
Right.
What do you guys? Captivity? What do you think? You came from this. You were in Africa in the middle of the desert, right? In the jungle. Yeah.
It's too bad they don't speak our language.
It was a big. You had a long flight over here.
Yeah. So we found just from this preliminary half an hour of us also joking around and interrupting Ross and stuff like that, and doing research, the research process, we found stuff that supports zoos and is against zoos. Like there could be more endangered animals if we didn't have zoos. And then also animals get depressed in captivity. I mean, we just on the surface found those 2 things. We'd obviously have to dig deeper. And at least two of those databases we found. So, and
now that I'm thinking about it, are zoos bad for humans? Because I've seen so many stories where I don't know this, that, and the other. This dude somehow jumped into, the lion pit or the orangutan. I don't know.
Into the lion pit, he's gonna have problems wherever he goes.
I think he had problems to begin with. I don't know what he was doing there. There's clearly lions there, and you're like, I'll pet the lion, not this lion on the show. But so students, we're trying to figure out what are we trying to research here. So when you get the golden ticket, when you get that gift, and you're allowed to pick your own topic, turn it in, yes, but think about it. Have a backup and maybe a backup, and then do some sort of Wikipedia window shopping, if you will, research and try to really see, is this really what I want to get into? And maybe ask a librarian, such as any of the 3 of us, not the lion, then not a real librarian, or the mouse. And then maybe we can help you sort of have this discussion, which is what we're all doing here. What do you want to investigate? What do you want to write for your paper on your topic that you choose, that you're paying for your credit, for your diploma? That's really what it comes down to. And that's a pretty big choice for each one of your assignments. So how do we get there? SeaWorld, here's another example. Now my brain goes, that's an amusement park. That's not really a zoo. So is it different? Shamu, there's got to be some bad stories sometime back in the day here. There's got to be bad stories everywhere. But what is bad?
What about Tillicum? Anyone remember Tillicum? Shout out in the comments. That was a few years ago. Y'all might have been little kids, but there at SeaWorld.
Yeah. So again, that's our original. Great point, Nicole. Are zoos bad for animals? Maybe we kind of chip away at that and redo it. Like, where are animals kept? Or just even, how about this, friends? Animal captivity. Just broad. Yeah. And let me just do a paper on animal captivity.
But Jason, you told us your bias at the beginning. And we all have one. Again, bias doesn't equal bad. It just has to be
you just happen to have
perspective. Okay. Right. So Jason, so if there was no zoos, no places or aquariums where people could have contact or see or learn about animals up close, would they not even care about any animals anywhere? That's one of the theories from my preliminary research, is that if we couldn't go to the zoo in general, so it's like maybe some animals suffer so that the collective populace can understand animals and see people interacting with them and learn about them and then in turn care about them. I know that is one of the arguments, and I'm not saying that that's the end all be all and that's how exactly how I feel. I'd want to research that. And scholarship as conversation means that when you do research for a paper or you talk with a friend and you hash out a topic, and me and Jason are going to arm wrestle about this later or whatever, argue about zoos at Nightberry tonight. No, we're not going to do that. If the conversation keeps going, and it's supposed to, and you can be a part of it, just letting you know.
100%. And just to button up that thought, my attitude on the topic means nothing for this assignment. So that is to say that Joe and Jane Smith go to the zoo or go wherever and pay the money. That doesn't mean that the zoo is bad for animals. So whether I like it or not, whether I support it financially or morally, it doesn't matter. Can we find information to answer the research question that explicitly says zoos across the board, no matter here, Singapore, Zimbabwe, it doesn't matter, are bad for animals? That's a pretty tall order. That's a pretty tall order to just come up and say, yes, they are, drop mic. So you really want to think about your research question. And what is the word bad? And as we said, is it a zoo? Is it an aquarium? Is it an amusement park? What's a zoo? So I'd really go back to the foundation. I would look up dictionary.com or Credo. What is a zoo? When did the first zoos start? Why did they start? I think it was amusement. I think back in the day, if it was 3500 BCE, friends, that's a long time ago. We didn't have television or the internet. There was no Instagram in your homies back then. No. So there was really nothing to do. And then somebody said, oh, let's get a peacock. Oh, there's a zebra. Oh, there's something. Let's put it in here and we'll charge people money. Yeah. So that's where we are now. But again, the answer is not individual. It's in the research. So that's where this is really important. And we are having a scholarly conversation. There's no, we can arm wrestle about it all day. But if you're like, hey,
we're not gonna arm wrestle on camera. I mean, we'll save that for later, you know.
No. Okay.
So do we have a FYE credit link?
We do. Okay. So here we go, students. So you might have to copy and paste it. Click it once. You will have to sign into Raider Connect. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, compliments, let us know. We will help walk you through this. This constitutes as one of your 2 mandatory first-year experience credit event credit shows. And you can come back to the library for more. All that information is on Raider Connect, but all you have to do is click that once, and we'll stay on the line here after the show and see if you need any help getting that right.
That's right. Thanks, Jason and Ross. And thank you for joining us today. Remember, we are librarians. We are here to assist you with research, citations, and information needs. There's no question too big, no question too small, no question too weird. Trust me, we're ready for it. We want to hear it. We can save you time and we can save you stress. So why haven't we heard from you yet? You can make a research appointment or use 24/7 library chat. Those and additional contact options are linked on the library website. Just Google Seminole State Library and you'll find us. And if you like hanging out with librarians, hey,
that's cool.
Give us a like, a share, and a subscribe. And hopefully we will see you next time. All right. Well, thank you.
We'll stay on in case anybody has any questions about Raider Connect, but you go into the upper right-hand corner of your Raider Connect page and you hit on the involvement transcript and you should be good to go. We'll stay on the line. If you need anything, let us know. That's it, Nicole. Is there an outro video? Oh, you have something else?
You can also text us if you like the link gets wonky,
text us.
But Jason, your links are good. So, I mean, just as a backup, no big deal, no big deal.
We just need the lion to take us out with their outro comments for the day.
Let's see.
Mouse? Got it.